a nutritional therapist, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
So could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a nutritional therapist. I tend to specialise in sports nutrition because I do quite a lot of sport. I also write cookery books, and I write about healthy food, but also not so healthy food too. So I do a little bit of everything. So not only can I tell you the foods you should eat, hopefully I can teach you how to cook them in a nice way to make them tasty.
So the foods we should and we shouldn't be eating. Interesting concept, because I think most of us really enjoy food, whether we enjoy eating the right foods or the wrong foods. Would you say that for women entering perimenopause, there are foods that they absolutely should be eating? I know in your writing you say there's not a one size fits all, but generally, what should women approaching peri and getting into menopause be ensuring that they're eating?
It probably would be the same as if you weren't perimenopause or menopausal. There are foods that are obviously going to help all of us, and we talked about this earlier off camera about the body works, everything works together, everything works synergistically, so you need to make sure your whole body is healthy. So it's not just thinking about the hormones, but if we want to think about a hormone balancing diet, you want to reduce the things that are going to bring hormones into the diet, so things like meat and dairy, we're not sure what hormones they've been fed on. And then you want to increase your fibre to get rid of some of the hormones, so we want lots of fruit and vegetables, more vegetables and fruit, so we reduce the sugar. You want to balance your blood sugar, so you want to have less sugar, you want to have meals that are evenly spaced throughout the day, so you're keeping your blood sugar level. So it's not necessarily just about having, there's no magic one food you should have and one food you shouldn't. Although there's obviously research to show things like soya is very good, linseeds are very good. Things like chickpeas and leafy green vegetables, legume type things.
So these are phytoestrogens, and obviously everything we've read and research will say ensure that you're eating a naturally phytoestrogenic, if you could say that, diet. We can't compare ourselves with Japanese women because they've been brought up eating this food since birth. So I like chickpeas, I like legumes, so that's quite fortunate for me. But if it's something that's maybe new to your diet, what sort of quantity are we talking?
I think quantity is quite hard to give, but I think research has shown that if women have like 100 grams of phytoestrogens a day and then maybe a tablespoon of linseeds, that's shown to have some effect on some of the symptoms, on the hot flushes. So it's about changing your diet and also taking things out. So making sure you're taking out all the processed foods, you don't know what you're eating. And I think a lot of people, they're not aware of what they're eating. They're not aware of what's in processed food. So it's about, cooking healthy food from fresh ingredients and getting used to that first. Then you can go into the little minor details, but it's about cleaning up the diet to start with.
I think that's absolutely something that we've
it's
time and time again when we said biscuits are great, but in moderation. Everything is in moderation.
Well, it's also getting out of that convenience food mentality, isn't it? You come home from work and you're hungry. A lot of people will just go to a ready-made meal that they'll shove in the microwave and eat quickly. It's getting into the mentality of eating freshly made.
And that can be just as quick. I mean, I can show you, I'm going to do lunch in a minute, and I can show you a salad that literally will take less time than it takes you to put a ready meal in the oven. A packet of lentils, some chopped up beetroot, some feta cheese, some red onion and a nice dressing. That's it, done. And that's just as easy as you putting a ready meal. The other thing is you can sort of change your taste buds, because it's interesting you say, biscuit and they're nice. Well, once you start getting away from them, you'll find that actually they're not that nice, and you won't crave them. So it's about training your taste buds as well as your mind. In that, what do I fancy? Do I fancy a biscuit? And I used to be a real biscuit and cake freak. I loved them, and now I think about it and think, okay, now imagine what I feel like after I've eaten it. And think, no, actually, I don't think I do want that. So it is about training yourself, and it won't happen overnight. But healthy snacks. So I would, what we're trying to do now is get people away from having too much fruit, because it seems like that's the easy option to go to, and everyone thinks it's really healthy, but it is just sugar still. So you have to remember that your body just recognises it as sugar. So if you want to have a piece of fruit, that's great, but you need to have some protein and fat with it. So either have a handful of nuts or some seeds, or some cottage cheese or something like that. And it's not very much, just a little, but it just slows the sugar going into the bloodstream, so it'll stop that whole blood sugar going up and down. Or try and have savoury things, so try and stay away from having sweet things. You can have some mixed nuts and seeds that you brought in, again not salted ones, so the plain ones. You can chop up some vegetables and have a pot of hummus, so then you're getting your chickpeas, which is really good. Oat cakes, really great. Again, they're processed. If you want to make your own, fantastic. But you know, the bought ones are fine. So it's trying to stay away from always thinking of a snack as being a sweet thing, which I think comes
or
from
a treat or a reward.
It shouldn't be. It should be okay. What does my body need right now? You know, it needs feeding, but it needs feeding something good, and it normally needs feeding protein because we don't get enough protein in our diet. So try and think about it that way rather than, like you say, that's a good analogy that we think of it as a treat.
And avoiding those spikes where you think, I'm really hungry, I will have that.
Exactly.
So if you're not getting to that state of emptiness, then
so I would always say have 3 meals a day, so breakfast, lunch and dinner, and 2 snacks. Have a mid-morning snack, a mid-afternoon snack. And some people, if they struggle with sleep, I would say have a little snack before you go to bed, because sometimes it's just because you're hungry. You know, if you've eaten at 7 o'clock and you go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, it could be you just need something to eat, and your body's keeping you awake through that stress of being hungry.
Calorie intake. What?
Calorie intake, I wouldn't even go down the route of calorie intake, because, I want to ask you a question. 100 calories of raspberries compared to 100 calories of licorice all sorts, which is the most healthy?
Well, I did really I'm just going to say raspberries.
And I'm going to say licorice all sorts.
So it's not about the calories, it's about what the calories are.
Yeah.
So you could have 2,000 calories a day and they be no nutrients, just pure sugar. Or you could have really, really nutrient dense calories. So it's about what those calories are.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend people think about counting calories.
Balanced diet then. So on a plate, so you've got the healthy plate that the NHS have on their website.
Yeah.
What percentage would you say we should be having
We're
on
going back
our
to numbers
plate?
again.
Oh, I am going back to
Forget numbers.
Actually,
Don't think about numbers.
Right, let's cancel the numbers.
Forget
then.
about numbers. Look at your
Good
plate.
carbs then.
Every day. No, I don't even want to do that.
Okay.
Look at your plate and think, where's the protein?
Yeah.
We don't eat enough protein, and protein's really good for building us. So look at your plate and think, where's the protein? Have I got some good fish? Have I got some good meat on it? Or if you're vegetarian, some legumes, some rice, some pulses, a mix of those. And then, is there a rainbow on my plate? If your plate is all brown or beige, you're not getting any nutrients, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking
Banish the beige.
Exactly. Beige or white. You know that's not what you want. You want lots of colour and some good protein.
And do you say kind of go more the whole meal route rather than refined rices and brown rice and pastas and
definitely.
So you get your fibre in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we need. We do need lots of fibre, so you need to think about the vegetables. So loads of vegetables, as many vegetables as you can.
Superfoods, each week, month, it'll be broccoli, blueberries, turmeric, maca, chia seeds, the list goes on and on. What's your take on how we, the public, are...
I love this.
Yeah.
Superfood is a marketing term.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
Food is food, and they all have different nutrients that are all good for one thing or another. There is no such thing as a superfood.
Yeah.
There's not one that supersedes the other one.
if I said that this is a superfood, and I'm going to live on it for the rest of my life, you die.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. You need a variety of foods in your diet, and if one of those superfoods is useful to you, so for instance, I made this pudding today using chia seeds, and they're a superfood supposedly. I use them because they thicken things and they're healthy. That's it. It's not because they're super. It's because they are, in that recipe, they're really useful and they do a good job. I can use them instead of eggs for baking, that sort of thing. So if it's useful and you like the taste of it, great.
Yeah.
Don't buy it because it's a superfood.
Yeah. How should we be getting our healthy fats?
So healthy fats, you don't need to go to dairy, that's for sure, because there isn't any healthy fat in dairy. Healthy fats, you need to think of things like oily fish, nuts, seeds, avocado. They're where you're going to get your healthy fats. And the fish, you need to remember, think of smash, So sardine, mackerel, anchovy, salmon and herring. That's the easy way to remember those. So I would say you need to have oily fish 3 times a week, have avocados in your salads, every couple of days, and nuts and seeds as your snack. And you need those. We need to have, they're called essential fats, and they're called essential for a reason. Our brain needs them. Our brain needs a lot of them. Our cells need them, so it makes the cell membrane of every cell in our body supple, so we can get things in and out of them. We need them for our skin. So we do need to have essential fats. Now, low-fat foods have had all fat taken out of them, but to make them taste nice, they put sugar back in.
Or salt, I'm guessing.
Or salt, or something. So to make them edible, they put something back in that you don't necessarily need. My argument is, if milk comes out of a cow with fat in it, that's how you should have it. We mess around with our food far too much. So have food as naturally as possible. And yes, if it means you're going to have less, then just have less.
So when you get a Greek yogurt, and then you've got a 0% Greek yogurt, without sugar as a natural yogurt, has that had anything added to it, or has it just had all the fat taken out?
It's had the fat taken out. It'll probably be lower in protein as well, because
so you're not getting the goodness.
So we know
exactly.
a smaller amount of the whole fat product. So it's about maybe adjusting portion size and having something actually that probably tastes. Actually, because it's the fat that tastes good, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, and we need fat. We need fat, and it's good. It's more filling. So if you have a meal that's got fat in it, you're less likely to be hungry 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
If you have low fat, you will be hungry 5 minutes later, and then you'll go for something else that's sugary or have the fat. We need it.
Okay,
but in moderation.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.